I'm curious to see how the deck's going to perform. You know, it's maybe just having that little bit of like longevity and staying power makes it better against Soul Demon Hunter. Maybe having the ability to deal more burst damage later on in the game makes it better against like Soul Demon Hunter than Face Hunter would. But Fr0zen doesn't have those things. Maybe it's better against Priest. Maybe it's better against like Bomb Warrior. I think it is better against Warriors in general, but like enough to include it in a lineup that's outside of the Hunter deck weak to Bomb Warrior. A Galakron Priest with no weapon destruction, a Zoo Warlock that's killing itself very quickly. It's hard to tell. I need to see the lineup in action to make a definitive conclusion. But right now, Dan, I'm not sold.
All right, well, we'll see. I got a chance to talk to Firebat beforehand earlier today, and he was saying that he felt like Fr0zen bought the exact deck list that he thought he would, and that he's trying to target. So, at least according to what Firebat's saying, this is the lineup that he wanted to go up against. So he's confident at least, and we'll see if that ends up being enough here as Firebat starts things off. The nice, spicy Wolpendinger that summons 2 copies of 3/3 Beasts. And then you can play Cult Neophyte, try to win tempo that way. Fr0zen is playing the Control Priest that wants to try and shut things down here, but he's going to have to do it without spells for at least a turn. Or if he does choose a spell, it's going to cost him a lot.
Yeah. I'm curious about that Reef Firebat. He brought the exact decks that he wanted to. I don't know. He's got some good matchups, but then he's got some really bad matchups. And then, like, at the end of the day, if things line up how they should, it could come down to a Priest Mirror, which is never something I think you want to rely on in a lineup. So, we'll see, though.
That's never the case.
Yeah, we shall see.
I mean, you do bring up a good point, which is the volatility of certain matchups doesn't really guarantee that he's going to be able to, line things up the way he wants to with his decks, because he does have some matchups he wants to avoid, at least on paper.
Yeah.
But a lot can change. We'll see.
Yeah.
Fr0zen does end up going for the Apotheosis. Just wants to make sure that he can stop the curve. I do feel like Priest in particular is a class that can be more vulnerable to strategies that Hunter puts out.
Yeah.
So I think this looks good so far. And Firebat has Stormhammer.
That's good. That's
definitely
really good.
A nice inclusion here.
Yeah, I do think that this Hunter deck is better against both Bomb Warrior and Priest than Face Hunter is, just because of like more staying power in Priest. If your early board gets dealt with, you're not 100% reliant on just drawing straight burn. Fr0zen does have a clear here if he wants it. It's just incredibly expensive. You'd have to Wild Pyromancer coin, renew the Wild Pyromancer, and then play the Wave of Apathy. Also, he has Wild Pyromancer and Apotheosis in hand, so you might feel like he can go for something different. But I feel like dealing with this board is more beneficial than trying to hold on for like this Wild Pyromancer, Apotheosis craziness. Oh, picks up Powerwood Shield. That ends up being perfect because he can combine that with the Sethic Veilweaver and keep his Wild Pyromancer alive. That's the best possible pickup. Clears the board and develops his own board. That was quite the swing.
I mean, that was huge. That stopped a lot of his aggression. Firebat does not have the Rottenness Drake, and he can't really swing the Stormhammer without the Dragon. So this was not really the kind of mid-game that Firebat was hoping for. This is the part where he's supposed to supercharge his mid-game and become a little bit unstoppable. But even if Firebat did have it, let's say he had the Dragon right now, he would still not be able to really win the board because Fr0zen has the Cabal Acolyte and the Wave of Apathy here.
Yeah. And this kind of the things that I was talking about where Highlander Hunter just kind of feels a little bit too honest. It feels like average all around, where you're just playing minions on curve that are above average. But like when you're playing something above average against a deck that has the potential to do things that are way above average, that are in space,
Yes.
it
mean,
doesn't oftentimes doesn't work out.
Okay. Unleash the
Alright.
Hounds does help here.
That's a clear.
Yeah,
Going into a
this hasn't
Dino
been
Tamer Brand
exactly-
turn, that's a clear.
This hasn't been pretty. Fr0zen has the initiation. Oh, actually, you can just play Twin Tyrant and just get the board present that way.
Yeah.
Initiation's also interesting too.
So you're so far ahead at this point. What's the thing that punishes the most, or that is the best play that Firebat can make? Dino Tamer Brand. Twin Tyrant sets up actually the best for Dino Tamer Brand because he plays Dino Tamer Brand, goes face with the King Crush. You then trade over the King Crush initiation, and then use the King Crush to trade over the Brand. So you take 8 in the process, but then you have a massive board on the backside of it. So yeah, now it gets to Twin Tyrant, trade over the King Crush, initiation it, and then that's probably game. I guess you can see what's in the Disciple of Galakron first, if there's anything that's going to change your play, but nope.
Not exactly something you see very often. King Crush going the opposite direction, and Firebat as a diving Griffin. Okay. Zixor does help clean things up.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, this deck tops out Dino Tamer Brand. It doesn't run like a Grand Slam or Dragon Queen Alexstrasza like we've seen out of Hunter's run in the past. So basically, Firebat's looking for Zixor Prime, Zephyrus. Actually, right now with this Fr0zen being played, it's pretty much just Zephyrus. Did he miss damage? Yeah, right. He could have traded in the Zixor or the Diving Griffin.
Yeah, that's true. But I think right now Firebat has to just go for this Brawl board clear here. Those definitely isn't enough. And if Firebat wins the Brawl, he stays somewhat competitive into it, but he's already used his 2 Highlander cards that aren't... Oh, jeez. Oh, man, that's a concede. Fr0zen takes game number 1. Not the start that Firebat was looking for with the Highlander Hunter. I think he got a matchup that maybe he was even happy about, but I mean, Priest has some powerful stuff going in their favor, and you saw exactly why that is. That was kind of a beating that the Priest did back onto the Hunter. Granted, it was a couple of different unusual situations, like having initiation, but that was definitely a really good situational knowledge use here for Fr0zen to be able to turn things around. As we get a good look at Fr0zen's secret lab Team Liquid chair. So cool. So cool, so fresh. That's right. Looks like I wasn't sure what actually if looks like we temporarily got stuck there, but Fr0zen has the Druid and the Warrior remaining. His Druid deck, I think, is another one that could potentially be targeted by some of the pressure that Firebat's able to put out. Without access to Rogue, though, that is one of the better classes against it. We'll see if he's able to get it done with Highlander Hunter. Still one of the big question marks in the series at the moment. Yeah,
I feel like it should do pretty well against Bomb Warrior. Like that seems like what the deck is honestly designed to beat, because the modern Bomb Warriors that don't run Risky Skipper actually do are kind of weak against faster decks because they don't have sheer armor gain. They don't have really anything that they're doing in the early game outside of like Blade Storm, and they can fall to consistent pressure because they don't have consistent life gain. And on top of that, Firebat's got like Acidic Swamp Ooze. He's got Cobalt Sticky Finger. He's got a low curve deck. Seems like he's well equipped to beat Bomb Warrior. Survival Druid as well, I think could do okay. The problem is, again, it's like he's got this low curve. He's got some tools that can help him, like Cold Neophyte if he can land it on a big board. When he has a big board and like finish the game with Dino Tamer Brand, sure. But the Survival Druid actually has a lot of ways to kind of fight back. They have animated Broomstick. They have a decent amount of removal with Bog Beam, with Crystal Power. And once you get to the point where the Survival Druid at a safe amount of mana, like 7+, you just don't have great ways to finish the game. So we'll see. Firebat keeps Lord Keeper, Polkelt, and Demon Companion opening hand. I feel like that's pretty necessary against the Druid deck.
The Lord Keeper Polkelt is definitely one of the more interesting cards that I think most Hunter decks have been exploring more. We saw some with the Face Hunter, and we'll see if that ends up being, some of that power turns that Firebat was looking for. I don't know if he plays it on curve, though, because he won't be able to play anything for a while if that ends up being the case. Ooh. Okay, this is looking all right. This is looking promising, TJ.
Yeah. That also looks promising, though. Lightning Bloom, Innervate, and Guardian Animals. It's just Fr0zen needs some follow-up beyond that. Oh!
Yeah. Okay.
Nailed it.
Yeah, now Fr0zen can't hero power anything. Or at least he shouldn't.
Oh.
Okay, this is particularly interesting because I think if you play Zephyrs here, you're still offered a Mana Crystal, which actually gives him the ability to play Lord Keeper and then unlock the top end of his curve. But I think the Feywing is still just so good here.
Yeah.
You don't want to play 2 off curve for a while.
Yep. Nice positioning as well. Well, most of the time doesn't matter, but Fr0zen is going to be able to get this Guardian Animals down, and he does run double Leg Thresher, 1 Teacher's Pet Twilight Runner, so... Oh, yep, actually positioning matters a lot. It wouldn't have mattered if he pulled Leg Thresher plus something else, but because Fr0zen Druid is only Teacher's Pet, it was only the 3 combinations, either Twilight Runner, Leg Thresher, or double Twilight Runner, double Leg Thresher. Double Leg Thresher there ends up being actually the worst for Fr0zen. As far as like his game plan goes, just because he doesn't draw any cards, he had to take more damage on his second Leg Thresher, because otherwise he would have traded over the 2/2, then used the 2/1 to cleave the damage over and save more health on his minions overall. But Fr0zen still got decent follow-ups. He can go Iron Bark next turn, then Teacher's Pet the following turn, then Mount Cellar plus anything. He's missing some card draw pretty sorely, though.
We'll see, right? We'll see if this ends up paying off. I still have a little bit of reservations about it, just because I feel like it means you can't follow the curve.
Yeah, because now he's drawing Dino Tamer Brand into Varanus, into Rotnest Drake, into Kobold Sticky Finger, and then Faceless Corruptor. Actually, no, it's fine, because he has Zixor in hand.
I wonder.
Right.
So he could actually just go Corrosive Breath here, then Zixor, and then it'll reshuffle his deck.
Sure.
So he just... Lord Keeper Polkelt is... Alright, guarantee your next draw is going to be Dino Tamer Brand.
That is interesting.
So maybe Firebat's playing all along, because I don't know if he wanted to go like full Lord Keeper Polkelt value. But now he can't play Dino Tamer Brand because he's only on 6 mana. So,
right.
But Varanus may not have been good here. I don't know. It's just weird. Like
he could play the Volpentiger and then kill Command. And then pave the way for Dino Tamer Brand to go face. I mean, Fr0zen knows that Dino Tamer Brand's in hand, right? Because he knows that Lord Keeper Polkelt shuffled. He got 1 draw.
yes.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Oh, going for Edwin Van Cleef? Interesting.
All right. Okay.
Trying to drive maximum tempo.
It's like perfect excuse for Fr0zen to be able to play an overflow, though. Next turn, he's got. Oh yeah, that's a Mount Seller turn right there. Oh, and the interfade to be able to get the broomstick out. All right, so Fr0zen has like Mount Seller, Bog Beam, Nature Studies, Crystal Power, and Animated Broomstick. And then come on next turn.
Right, the broomstick is the
Firebat's
real
taking up
key.
damage. That's the question.
The key really is the animated broomstick,
Yeah.
as it will allow Fr0zen to go for a lot of the trades and probably take out very easily that King Crush.
Yeah. So there is the Zixor Prime in the deck, but there is also a Diving Griffin. Whew. Oh, finds Claw.
I mean, this looks nutty. This is like a full clear, and we're not even done looking at everything yet. Oh man, looking super one-sided. Druid did take a little bit of damage, but Firebat instantly concedes. Fr0zen up 2-0. Highlander Hunter is struggling right now. Does not look like it is cleared for landing just yet, and Firebat needs to get a win, otherwise he is swept here.
Yeah, I
And
can
I'm sure
imagine he's going to queue up the
that's,
Hunter again because it's his best matchup against Bomb Warrior. But now he has to beat Bomb Warrior 3 times in a row, and that matchup includes a Priest with no weapon destruction, and it's a Galcron Priest, not a Highlander Priest. And it includes a Zoo Warlock. So, not good odds. Even if he wins the Hunter matchup, not good odds at all. So
yeah, it's looking pretty bad right
what
now.
the heck?
But
are you seeing
we'll
what I'm
see.
seeing?
Yeah, Survival Warrior. Have you seen that before?
What the? Whoa! What?
Yeah.
Because Wretch Caliber and Blastmaster and all the what? Okay.
How have you not seen that? So what you do is you play.
No, because all the icons for the cards in the actual list, like the art on the small art on the cards, was also Druid cards. Whoa.
Yeah, TJ. It's pretty simple, okay? If you're Fr0zen, what you do is you play Evil Quartermaster, and then you get a Ethereal Lackey, and then the Ethereal Lackey gives you it's a way to generate a pirate. It's a way to generate a pirate, TJ.
Yep.
Let the hunt
The pirate
begin.
gives you Hench Clan Burglar.
Oh my! What?
And then
Man!
Hench Clan Burglar
You're in
gives
the
you survival
you're in the
to
game
fittest.
board.
That's right. Well, as you can clearly see, we are trying some new things here in Hearthstone Grandmasters, trying new formats, new structures for how things go, and also some new graphics patches. Let us know what you think. Hashtag HJS Esports on Twitter.
The more
If you like the
that I have
casters
on
to
my
be
game board, the
integrated,
better.
if you like the casters being integrated into the game seamlessly, then I have good news for you.
Job done.
But into a little bit more serious things. Firebat starting things off here with a turn 2 Imprisoned Thalmon. That's the kind of curve that every hunter is looking for here.
Yep. So this is the matchup I think that Firebat's looking for. He's got Acidic Swamp Ooze. He's got Cobalt Sticky Finger. He's got a nice low curve Highlander deck. Plenty of ways to finish the game. Plenty of ways to deal burst damage, and plenty of ways to curve out. I mean, He should win this. He should win this. Fr0zen also not having the greatest of starts. He does have some removal tools. Got double sword and boards, got Coerce, has Lord Barov and Whirlwind. It's just how much damage he's going to take in the interim. That's the question. Firebat needs to be careful about how much he extends, though. I feel like this is enough pressure on the board. They don't want to play the Volpertinger.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to make sure from, you know, Firebat's perspective that he's not like walking straight into a brawl and then all of a sudden he's out of resources. Take it a little bit slower. Lord Keeper Polkelt.
This seems like a pretty good situation for it, honestly. Just because you're guaranteed to draw the
Dino Tamer?
No, well, the Cobalt Sticky Finger within the next few turns. Because you go Dino Tamer, then you draw the Rotten Ass Drake, and then either Cobalt Sticky Finger or Faceless Corruptor.
True, true.
Whoa!
Very aggressive Kronks here. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I guess because he played it so fast, I wasn't really able to think. He had Lord Barov and Whirlwind. Oh, he wants more.
So he takes 12 this turn, knowing that Dino Tamer Brand is in hand. Maybe knowing Dino Tamer Brand is in hand makes him want to hold on to Lord Barov plus Whirlwind, but he's just going to die.
Yeah, it does look like he is very much dead here. I'm kind of thinking about the Lord Barov and the Whirlwind play previously and what was bad about it. It felt like he also could have just played Kronk this turn if Firebat had developed, right? So let's say Fr0zen clears the previous turn, Firebat redevelops, and he plays Kronk. Then he didn't take that 12, and instead, he'd taken like 7 from Brandis, for example. And then would feel like he's in a better spot to fight against the Dino Tamer Brand. Either way, he lost his Kronks now.
Yeah.
Now he knows what's coming.
I don't know.
You'll find me wherever the action is.
That one felt weird, but Firebat is so close to getting the victory here. And Fr0zen has some way to clear off part of the damage. He has the Shield Slam. So Sword and Board, Shield Slam, trade with the Barov, I believe is enough.
Yeah. You can go Sword and Board, Shield Slam, Dr. Krasnov over the Dino Tamer Brand. Get something on the board. He doesn't armor up, but he knows the draws from this point out. He knows that next draws... Firebat's far away from burst damage, I guess, is the way to put it. Because like his burst damage is all at 3 or less mana. Like Stormhammer, Kill Command, Zephyrus, Animal Companion...
I must choose my wonder.
Yeah, I'm liking the Sword and Board Hero Power Shield Slam here. Or rather, sorry, you can't Hero Power and play Dr. Krasnov, get the Sword and Board Shield Slam, you're right. Because you don't have a weapon, so let's just play the tools that we have.
Yep.
You can start to see a little bit of what was the problem in the previous series that we saw. Wow, Rotten Drake off the top. And that's just hard to deal with now.
Yep. Now if he plays Galakrond, he's dead on board.
He needs Cutting Class to hit Coerce.
Yep.
Oh, Coerce.
Nailed it.
Firebat needs 1 point of damage. All right, we knew the draw because of Cobalt Sticky Finger.
Yeah. So next turn, though, he has a 50-50 of drawing Evasive Baywing or Dragonbane. Dragonbane could be the burst damage he needs. I mean, that's if Fr0zen can even deal with this Varanus. Okay. Shield block.
Did he use his shield slam already? That's gonna do it. Fr0zen with the concede. Firebat takes game 3. And you know, the Highland Hunter finally gets over the hump, but definitely was pretty costly in terms of losing 2 games that I think Firebat felt like he wanted to have a little bit more mileage out of his deck before that ended up happening. So, yeah, kind of unfortunate for him. However, we do see a little bit of weaknesses of that Highlander deck, right? Like, I don't think Firebat played that deck that badly at all. I think there's very few mistakes made. But, like, the power level of Highlander Hunters may be the reason to think about, right? So maybe the debate is whether or not it's worth bringing that deck, regardless of whether or not things go well in practice, right? Because right now I think what Firebat's going off of is his own experience in theory, but it hasn't really been peer-reviewed, if you will. Not many people are, like, backing him and saying, like, this is the right thing to do to try to target the lineup. And so right now it's Firebat's theories going up against other GMs. And we'll see if he gets the last laugh and gets to get this Bomb Warrior targeted 3 times. I'm thinking it's not that likely, but, you know, he does have a couple of decks that might still give the Warrior some trouble, right? Priest is always a problematic class to go up against, regardless of anything that you try to prepare, because they have some really powerful disruption tools and some good tempo options right now. Zoo Warlock, I'm not really sure how to evaluate it. And in the words of Firebat, what he even said today is that Zoo Warlock's biggest enemy is often itself. You know, it gets the good hands, it seems unstoppable. But if you get a mediocre hand, sometimes it feels like you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, the good hands are so much less good now than they were a week and a half ago. When Dark Lair was 3 mana, but you refresh 2 mana crystals.
Job's done.
A little agony.
Yeah, it is truly a wonder. Thinking about what Zoo Warlock should be doing. Perhaps we need to retool Warlock entirely. I do think that Warlock is a class right now that has some of the most potential, but some of the least innovation going on at the moment. Largely because there's so many good control tools. There's some pretty good aggressive tools. I mean, heck, they even have some good combo opportunities, as we saw with, you know, Galakron Warlock playing some combo finishers. But it does feel a little susceptible when, you know, there's a lot of pressure in the meta game that tries to hit life totals, and Warlock is a class that willingly accepts that damage. So I'm not entirely sure either. I definitely don't think that, you know, I don't think, I'm not calling anyone out saying like, oh, they're like being suboptimal or they're being lazy or whatever. It just feels like there's a lot of room for innovation in this class. I still think that people haven't really scratched the true surface of yet.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think there's been enough time that has passed yet. Experimentation that's been done yet with Warlock. Shaman as well. So
okay, I like the idea of playing Aspire Merchant with Flesh Giants against Warrior, because layering the Flesh Giants is something that I think is problematic for the class. I guess less so because Fr0zen is playing Coerce, so he does have more removal tools. Right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So Flesh Giant is going to cost 2 next turn. He could play 2 Flesh Giants next turn if this Expired Merchant dies.
He also dealt 8 damage to himself this turn.
Yes! Dan, this is also a fact. And he hasn't been dealing much damage to Fr0zen. That is also a fact.
There's this tournament
Neophyte.
That's
now he
huge,
gets a free tap. You
And
want a
Flesh
Disease
Giant.
Vulture, though. Actually, that's better.
I like Cult Neophyte and Flesh Giant here
yeah,
a
maybe
lot.
you're right. Oh, I can even flame
Okay. Maximum octane pressure.
High octane Warlock gameplay. Except he's
I
going
mean,
to
you
be
go
at
down
12
to
health, Dan.
Goes to 12. Fr0zen swings the face. Firebat draws 2 bombs. Series is over. Are you ready, TJ? Well, Fr0zen actually does have a way to deal with the giant. He could play the Goblin Lackey and then coerce. Not
Yeah.
pretty.
It also gives Firebat 2 more Flesh Giants because he can actually trade the Expired Merchant and then just double play Flesh Giants. I don't think he can afford to
problem
take
at a
damage,
time, but don't forget that Fr0zen can just swing at Firebat's face.
He's just
try
swinging
and
at
let
its
him-
face! Oh my gosh! Alright, so that is now 2 bombs in the deck.
Woo!
Oh, you're playing a dangerous game here, friendo. So you traded the Expired Merchant, you play double Flesh Giant?
I think in Firebat's mind, he doesn't want to hero power this turn because then he puts himself within range of 1 bomb if Fr0zen swings to the face.
Yeah, I think you just trade over Expired Merchant, and play at least 1 Flesh Giant. They're now 1 mana, I believe.
So many possibilities.
You can play Disease Vulture in 1 Flesh Giant, I think. That still sets up lethal.
Almost out of time.
Yeah, I mean, one way or another, I feel like this game ends next turn.
Yep. I guess you
Like,
could just play
either
both
Fr0zen
because of what you
draws-
mentioned.
Yeah, either Fr0zen draws like the Brawl and completely destroys it, or he kills Firebat somehow with the upgrade swing.
Is that a brawl?
Or
That's a brawl.
oh my goodness! Wait, Flesh Giant could still survive though.
It could, but then Fr0zen still has an out of upgrade, hit face, and then bomb drawn.
Oh, oh man! Not to mention that Firebat might just die if he life taps anyways because of the
3
the
bombs.
weapon swing. He can't play that card.
So
He just has to play Flesh Giant, Disease Vulture, and push. And Fr0zen needs 1 more upgrade. If he finds Dr. Krasinov, he wins. Shield block. Actually,
Shield block,
that
Blade
shield
Storm,
slam.
Shield Slam. Keeps him alive.
Right. Cutting class.
Ooh. Do you go for that or do you go for the? Okay.
Oh, he
Yeah, I
was
think-
2 cards off.
I think aren't you?
Wait, so yeah, you're right. He doesn't have enough mana Shield Slam and Blaze Storm right now.
The cutting class was definitely a bait.
Oh my.
Because the
Yeah, because if he Shield Slammed the
What now?
Flame Imp and then Blaze Storm, he would have guaranteed had only the Flesh Giant survive.
yeah, because now he's dead on
still-
board.
He's dead on board, but he still has the bomb out,
Yeah, so
and
there's
there's
4 bombs
a
in the
handful
deck
of bombs.
now. So it's a 20% chance, slightly less than 20%. Oh, he got him!
Gosh.
So yeah, Fr0zen. I don't know why he played that cutting class.
I think he was looking for a lethal out.
It's only 1 upgrade in his deck that's a lethal out. That's the only lethal out he has with 3 mana remaining. A
Right.
single upgrade. Because he doesn't even have mana to play like Evil Quartermaster plus Lackey because he only had 3 mana left. If he goes Blade Storm plus Shield Slam, he leaves 8 power on the board. He's at 9. Like, Firebat has to have something extra, which is a Soulfire regardless. Either way, he dies. And he gets 1 more turn. That's a guaranteed setup because he had a Horde Pillager in hand. So if he dodges that 1 turn, I think that was a big mistake by Fr0zen. Because he still had
very
at
much
least,
so.
like half his deck left, so you're taking like a 1 in 15 to win the game on the spot.
Right. Or also lose because you have to also miss, which is a likely thing to happen, and then you give your
Yeah.
opponent that lethal damage on board.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that there's definitely logic in like Frozen's play. I do think that it might be a little bit too risky for my taste. So
Yeah.
We'll see if that ends up being a decision that ends up costing, because Firebat now has brought this all the way back and is now on the verge of a reverse sweep, which heats it up. Which heats up the little bit of the former Michigan rivalry, right? As both these players, well, I think Fr0zen's still in Michigan. Firebat has since moved to Las Vegas. But you know, there's a little incident where I think Firebat told me he had a falling out with Fr0zen, and they used to be kind of like, you know, sharing you know, a little bit together and being a lot tighter. And I think Firebat told me there's an incident that happened where like now they don't really talk much together, and that heats up the rivalry a little bit more. TJ, I don't know exactly what it was. I'm sure if you ask Firebat in his stream, he'll tell you.
I don't know.
Either way, we go into this game number 5.
What's funny about that anecdote that you just gave is that
This will break your
Fr0zen, Firebat, and I also go back to season 1 of Hearthstone Grandmasters.
There's some heat going on with this series, you know. There's
So
there's the idea that, you know, Fr0zen in the past did not appreciate some of the analysis that TJ gave, called
Neither
them
did
out on
Firebat.
social media, and Firebat did the same thing too.
So they have a common enemy. Maybe that's enough to rekindle their bond. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I think we can all bond over flaming TJ on social media as our pastime.
Yeah. Seemed to be a trend in 2019.
If anything to get the conversations away from what I'm reading, man. Jeez. Firebat pushing the tempo so much so that he coin renewed to
Nice.
maintain his Disciple of Calicron to buff that Apotheosis.
Yeah, I mean, tempo is the way that he's going to win this game. Pretty necessary. One thing about this Bomb Warrior list is that it doesn't really do much for the first, 3 turns of the game. The only real proactive play it has is like Evil Quartermaster on 3, and even then, that's not like the best proactive play you can make. And then Wrench Caliber on 4. Fr0zen's a little bit off that curve, but does have like the proactive hand to be able to follow up against this. And he does not have to worry about weapon removal, because Firebat did not include any weapon removal in his hand. One thing Firebat did include, though, is a lot of ways to just like kind of keep control of the board. He's got like double Cabal Acolyte, double Wave of Apathy with Cabal Shadow Priest. He's got the Penance. He's got Wild Pyromancer, double Apotheosis. Like he's got a lot of ways to just stick a board every turn and remove his opponent's board every turn, which is how like these Galacron priests want to do things. They still need to pressure because they need to find a win condition, but they're great at doing that. Just how fast can they do it? Fr0zen's like, I don't know, whatever. Can't kill any of these. Point it at the face.
Yeah.
He's got
tricky,
Brawl,
right?
so there's like
Because-
no incentive for him to kill anything. He knows that it's
Right.
going to get that this health is going to get negated essentially. Like he'll deal 1 damage because the lifesteal is just going to heal it back up. If he kills the damage minion, then the light well is going to go face anyway. It's like whatever. Just hit him in the face.
Oh. Firebat has Power Word Feast to really lock in his board state here. What I like about Power Word Feast in this light whale is actually it kind of fights against Fr0zen's desire to really add this weapon damage and have it stick. I like it. And, I mean, Firebat is kind of going through just sheer tempo.
Yep.
Priest. And Fr0zen trying to find a way to use this Dr. Krasnov to maybe build up this weapon that's hard to destroy unless Firebat has weapon destruction, which does not look like it is accessible to him right now.
Nope.
Does not really have it in his deck whatsoever.
And that is a big weapon. And also a big Blastmaster boom.
It is. You aren't wrong. I will say that it does feel like Firebat has a lot of tempo and momentum on his side to the point where it does feel like Fr0zen is taking a lot of damage.
Yep. This is true, and honestly, that kind of makes Blastmaster Boom become somewhat of a liability. Because if you play Blastmaster Boom and then your opponent just like has dealt a significant amount of damage, and then they just Soul Mirror your Blastmaster Boom turn, you can die.
Yeah, or also Mass Dispel, which stops all the boom bots from actually doing anything.
Yeah.
Well, they still are 1/1s. It's a lot of stats on the board. You basically play a Nixia at 7.
Yeah.
There's 6 power on the board. You're at 17, challenging a third of your life. More than that, Fr0zen doesn't have a convenient access to clear either because of the way health points changed the
I wonder.
Blade Storm interactions here.
I don't know here. An attack phase seems to indicate Blastmaster Boom.
This one's tricky because there's not really a good place to swing besides the face.
Yeah.
And that's where the powered feast on the Light Whale is becoming really annoying.
Yeah. If you go for something like, you can swing into the Mind Flayer and then like Lord Barab Blade Storm and set up a clean board. But yeah, he's just gonna go for it. This is very checked
I mean,
by Firebat. Mass Dispel and
Yeah.
Shadow Word Death.
Mass Dispel, stopping, 15 damage on average. The boom bots deal 2.5. Can even trade down the board, or it can just push the damage. Say you deal with this. Oh, he finally gets a second minion that dies. You can play his Cleric of Scale.
That's crazy to me that's it. That's all that's died. Because the Disciple of Galakrond was actually just beefed up.
Quickly.
It was a 3/5 with lifesteal.
On wings of destruction they come.
All right.
Alright, Wave of Apathy.
Pretty straightforward choice. Not really going to pick up the bomb.
Yeah.
Okay, what can Fr0zen do from here? This looks like a good opportunity for Lord Barov to get tempo back. So we can play Lord Barov, then play Evil Quartermaster, and get tempo back on his side. Because clearly he's let Firebat run away a little bit too much on the board state. The other thing he could do is trade down the board, then play Deathwing. And I think with the Shadow Word Death having just been used, I feel a lot more okay with Deathwing. But the Barov is interesting because it does give him a little bit more options moving forward. Because then he could like manipulate the board state and play Blade Storm, or he could like damage a minion and play Coerce. It gives his other hands a little bit better power. But I kind of like the idea of Deathwing coming out here too, just because you can threaten to kill your opponent in 2 turns. I guess it's optimistic to assume that you can do that versus Priest, though, right? Because your opponent just played a Cleric of Scales, and if they have the ability to use Cabal Acolyte, then they shut down your Deathwing really hard. So I think this makes the most sense. The more we kind of like think it through.
Yeah, this is, I like kind of saving I feel like he's got enough, just like straight up juice with how many bombs in the deck, the big weapon, that he could save this Deathwing to be a little bit more reactive. Also got a Galakrond somewhere in his deck, plus a Kronx. That's going to really short things up as well. This is also the first Wrench Caliber, so he's got Fort Pillager, he's got second Wrench Caliber. Also has, because he played Corsair Cash that was picked up from...
Picked up from...
What was it picked up from? What the heck? He has 2... He played a Corsair Cache and still has 2 Corsair Caches left in his deck.
Well,
Ethereal Lackey from the first Evil Quartermaster.
Yes, that sounds right.
And he picked up the Corsair Cat. So he has a lot of ways to find the second Wrench Caliber. Whether it's natural draw, whether it's Horde Pillager, whether it's a Corsair Cast draw. And Firebat's just starting to kind of run out of pressure.
Right.
All right, well, there's the Galakrond. And there's the hit from Fr0zen. So now there are currently 5 bombs in the deck for Firebat.
Whew. Soulmere came a little bit too late for that Dr. Boom board state, which would have been just perfect for Firebat to maybe close out the game. So I think I like extending with a big dragon here of some kind if I'm Firebat. If your opponent plays Deathwing, you play Cabal Acolyte plus the Wave of Apathy and steal it right back. I guess the issue is that right now he would run into mana efficiency at both corners. He either floats mana this turn. If he plays the Cabal, Wave of Apathy next turn, he also floats. Waxadread fills that curve out perfectly next turn. Fr0zen has the opportunity to shield slam this skeletal dragon and push 3 as well. Starting to get
I honestly
pretty scary.
wanted to Corsair Cash and Coerce with Wrench Caliber there, but I guess that doesn't matter. Just put like one more bomb in the deck and then follow that up with the Galakrond Shield Slam push. Maybe that's incorrect because was this his last minion? Let's take a look. No, he had a Horde Pillager, but it's a 50-50 to draw Kronks. Maybe that's like the burst damage that he wants. If he draws a couple bombs, Kronks gives him additional burst damage.
Yeah, it's true. Kronks could end up helping do that over-the-top damage. Finds a Skeletal Dragon, but the interaction with Katrina Merte actually ends up helping Firebat. Because the Skeletal Dragon is at the end of your turn, but the end of the turn already happened with Katrina Muerte resurrecting. Fr0zen can just clear off.
Fill up his hand.
Yeah. True. Deathwing does clear off most of this, or all of this rather. And lets him push 3, right? That's the whole point of what Fr0zen's doing, just trying to slowly push, nudge. Bring up a good point. Maybe Firebat is totally okay with it, his hand being full, but I think right now he still has a lot of work to be done. Finds Apotheosis, Cabal Acolyte plus the Way of Apathy, then the Waxadread. I think that was the exact combination that he was looking for.
Dance, puppet, dance.
And he needs to find a way to stick a minions that way Apotheosis can do a little bit more work now. It does get cleared by the Kronks though. This is still a completely manageable spot here for Fr0zen.
Yep, you can go Corsair Cash, finally draw that second Wrench Caliber. Actually can go Sword and Board, Blade Storm, Wrench Caliber? I feel like Kronks though.
Yeah, I just don't want an Apotheosis target here.
Yeah, what is...
So he wants to save Kronks for actual direct damage, right?
Wax, give me
What?
life.
This doesn't kill the Cabal Acolyte.
He wants to shuffle bombs in. I mean, there's a 3-bomb out
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, 3-bomb matter with 6 bombs in the deck, but 3-bomb matter is still not a lot. No bomb drawn. And this is going to be a little bit of that health offset. Cleric of Scales, taking a look at the spells left in the deck. He's got Draconic Studies, Wave of Apathy, Raise Dead, and Bomb.
All right, well, if I'm Firebat, first thing I'm thinking of, is there anything good with Fr0zen? I don't think there is.
Yeah, you got a Sword and Board, a Coerce, Corsair Gash, and a Wrench Caliber.
Right. So since
Wrench
that's out
Caliber,
of
maybe.
Yeah, true.
quickly.
I like the idea of Ysera as well.
I mean,
Man,
Firebat needs to dodge bombs for like a lot of turns. After
Right.
next turn, there's going to be 7 bombs in his deck. Almost half of it. It's starting to approach half of his deck is bombs. Ooh.
So Blade Storm, and then Hero Power push 6. Nah, I was thinking about how we can find a way to use Kronx. He's gonna brawl 50-50 here.
Yeah, I like the brawl because it's going to be really hard to use. And then you can Blade Storm and push. He's trying to just space out his removal. Then next turn, whatever's played, he can brawl, coerce, then push. So this is like
Right.
just a nice like removal sequencing.
Jeez.
From Fr0zen. And now 7 bombs in the deck. Still not a bomb drawn.
Okay, Firebat needs to find some way to stick the board here. Missed his opportunity to use the Apotheosis, and now it's going to be trying to go for maximum board presence.
Oh, but he's dead here. Fr0zen could just go Kronx, coerce, right? Oh, no, not quite dead, but there's going to be a possibility for 1 bomb outer if he wants it.
It seems very likely dead. Is it a time for him to take it a little bit slower and use cutting class? I don't think so. I think you actually still want to kill this 7/6 because you know that there's a high chance for the Apotheosis to really come in here and
Yeah.
ruin
Well,
all of what Fr0zen's building up towards.
You can go cutting class and then coerce, or just do the play that he wanted to be that he set up for last turn. Don't get fancy. Just play brawl, coerce, and then push the damage, and then put him on a 1 bomb out. Even if he survives this, even if he doesn't draw a bomb, you have Kronx next turn, which should finish the game. 8 bombs in the deck now. 8 out of the 19 cards. Still no bomb draw.
Whoa!
This is like Fr0zen's
That's
just
healing.
playing an aggro deck with no bombs. Doesn't matter. He's gonna kill him without him having drawn any bombs.
That's true. I just wanted to highlight that Firebat actually can heal with the Wild Pyromancer and the
Oh my gosh.
the lifesteal, but like that does require some pretty elaborate synergies here. I think Draconic Studies landing like a basic Draconid is still his best chance here. Okay, on a Maze Scribe.
And then what?
Quickly.
Radiance. Wave of Apathy Radiance.
Okay.
Magic is not a
I think we're so desperate that it has to be something like this.
do not lose these.
Radiance.
Oh my god. Radiance and Renew! What? Firebat has not drawn a single bomb.
Kronx can deal 5. You can hero power him down to just 3 life. And just 1 more bomb should do the trick here for Fr0zen.
There are 9 bombs in his deck.
So we're officially at 50-50
Wait,
then.
8. No, we're at 8. He's not shuffling a bomb this turn. 8 bombs. Still not
Still
drawn!
no bomb. And he has the Apotheosis now, TJ.
You remember that clip from 2019 where Firebat died because he drew a bunch of bombs in a row?
Yeah.
This is like karma for that.
I must consider.
Right. That's them trying to make up for it. Wow. Okay, well. Firebat
Wait,
needs to find some way. I think if he plays Renew here,
Does this not seem?
On wings
Was
of
that just Soul Mirror
destruction they
Apotheosis?
come.
Must move quickly.
No, this is better.
I think
Because he
this
keeps
heals
getting
more.
the spells. Yeah, this is better.
because he keeps hitting it more.
Ah,
and
this is
more,
way
so-
better. Oh my gosh. Because he keeps getting the lifesteal. He heals 2 every single time. That's insane. Ay, ay, ay.
Okay, but now we're getting to the point where Firebat is still very likely to die. Fr0zen just needs to make sure that Firebat doesn't have any more lifesteal opportunities.
Maybe.
Fr0zen here, what's the best expenditure of his resources here? Whirlwind, Sword and Board, and Shield Block. What are even the remaining cards in his deck? I don't even think he feels comfortable necessarily just throwing out Shield Block.
He is a
here,
Horde
unless
Pillager. He needs to find the Horde Pillager.
Okay. That's huge. That's huge.
Last 2 cards are Horde Pillager and Corsair Cache. So 1 dead card, 1 Horde Pillager.
Okay, he's going for the 3-bomb outer.
Yep.
And there's a high likelihood Firebat draws a single
Finally!
bomb. Okay.
It's the first bomb of the game.
Still
only
not a
one.
second bomb.
Oh my gosh, if he gets like Radiance from this
A simple spell.
and Renew again, let's see. Okay, didn't find
Mind
it.
Vision can get Sword and Board.
Yeah. Alexstrasza would be sick. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza? Well, that's not going to be active forever.
no, it doesn't
By the
do
time it's active,
anything
he's
here.
just dead because he's because of the bombs.
Fr0zen is also really weird because Fr0zen played things like Cutting Class and Shield Block, which he does not want to play right now. Yeah, looks like Firebat just loads up on tempo and continues to dodge bombs.
Running out of cards.
Fr0zen's almost out of cards
Oh my
here.
gosh, Horde Pillager's his last card. All right, so Firebat has 14 cards left. 7 are bombs, and 1 is a Waxadread Candle. So more than half his deck is bombs right now. More than half his draws are bombs. He also has 2 Raised Deads. All right, so there's a bomb. Bomb 1. Oh, and bomb 2. Woo.
And there it is. Fr0zen takes the series 3-2. Very tightly contested back and forth. And once more, 3 best of 5s, TJ. 3 series that goes to game 5, and it looked like it could have gone either way at one point.
Yeah.
But definitely lacking a little bit of that firepower at the end because Firebat has such a strong opening start. And then once his tempo got cut, didn't seem like he could ever really recover. So you got to see what Bomb Warrior does best in those kinds of scenarios when you don't have weapon destruction.
Yeah, inevitability. And
Inevitability.
that kind of, leaves me with the same questions that I posed kind of at the beginning of the series for Firebat's lineup. You said he liked his lineup against Fr0zen, but it felt like he was too reliant on cornering the Bomb Warrior with some of his decks, but then like Priest with like other parts of his decks. Like you throw an Ooze into that Priest, and all of a sudden you can really see that lineup coming together, right? Even throw a couple Oozes in that Priest, I don't care. And you really see that lineup coming together as like a counter to Bomb Warrior. But just couldn't get there at the end. Lost too much momentum with the 2 losses to Hunter, with the Hunter earlier on, and just wasn't able to get across the finish line. So back to the drawing board, but Fr0zen walks away with a win.
All right, well, that brings us to our last series of the day as we have Zlay versus ETC.